Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Start off, give us tzedakah. Put the tzedakah. Shemakaros agula. Give us some tzedakah. In not going to fit. It's like the coins together. In this whole series, with an honor for all the Yidden in Eretz Yisroel, for the safety and security, and Yidden everywhere really, and specifically the soldiers that are fighting in the north and in the south, and specifically the hostages that are still in captivity, or that came home but are still going through the traumatic experiences and PTSD. That Mitzvah Hashem, through our learning and through our avodah and our working on ourselves to the extent that we can, should help Klal Yisrael. And we're going to focus today on Orly. Yep. Okay. Starting Mammer Tes Vav. Altogether, there's 12 Mammarim to go. So already done 6:15. So we're doing good. We finished before Pesach, Mitzvah Hashem. Hopefully. Anyway, so we're going to continue on this discussion of Gaiva. And something to understand, a lot of times we learn things, especially like in this example, the Gaiva that he's talking about is maybe not necessarily exactly the way ours expresses itself. And what our job is to understand the concept well, to be able to recognize, where do I find this within myself? Everything that happens to us is Bashkacha Pratis. And therefore, we're meant to be learning something. There's something to be learned from it. It's not just something happens to us. So you learn this, you're like, the guy that he's talking about, I'm not like that. Halavaya had such an issue. But we all do have it. It just takes effort to figure out what it is. That's why it's important to learn it well, because sometimes you could try to apply it into your situation and you could be totally off. And the reason is because you didn't understand the concept well. That's why the first and foremost is to learn the concept and understand it. Then you'll see. And from my experience, when I've done this, the way you understood it and it's in line with what the Mammer is saying is clicks. You have like this, I don't know, like it just what, like you can tell that it's right. Like it's not just I'm just making stuff up that's totally false. And it works. And then you can read the Mammer, and then what you can do is when you think you figure it out, you read the Mammer and you see if it works with what the Mammer is saying. And as the Mammer is, all that thing makes sense. Anyway, that's another whole long forbearing. Let's go. Mammer Tes Zayin, Perek Aleph. Only 2 parakim in this Mammer. Hine, Hagoyim es Hayirid Hagdela, Shalaben Teir, Vaisik Vaveda, Shabalev, Bezeh Shemizgar, Oy Afshe, Avgam Shmachzik Tevelatzmo, Hu Ashtus. So this whole idea that you take people, talking about people that are good people, in this case, the Ben Teir, a person that really learns, a person that really davens, and people that are very sincere and very honest about their Judaism. We could say that in that sense, trying to make it more talking to us. People they're really trying, but they have arrogance and self-satisfied with what they're doing. That's machzik tevel atzmo is we're good. I'm good. I'm doing fine. I don't need to change anything. Now again, of course, there's a balance between saying I'm never enough versus I'm doing good, but actually there's always more to do, and feeling positive. That's the baseline. And this issue that they have of this being self-satisfied and like I don't have to do anything, I'm good, I'm done, I can coast. This is a shtus. This is a folly, stupidity, whatever you want to call it. He called inyan hageus who shtus nifla, because this whole idea of arrogance is a big shtus. Like Mammer, like it says, call gay shaitan. All arrogant people are fools. But why should you be so arrogant? And we're going to go into this whole discussion that essentially, when you're doing the right thing, you're doing what you're supposed to, what you were created to do. So you shouldn't have to be so arrogant. Now it's true, and we have to learn this. It's true that you had the choice and you made the right choice, but to be so arrogant about it, make the right choice is I'm so grateful I got to make the right choice. Meaning, do we look at Torah mitzvahs as serving us or us serving it? It's like the story I said it a few weeks ago, last week maybe, but this guy that he connected to Chassidus. Like he grew up very frum in very good yeshivas, and they always like bad mouth Chabad. And somehow he found so Chassidus, something he didn't realize what it was. He was very depressed, and he like blew his mind, and he was like, "Whoa! Like look what I've been missing my whole life." And he said, it used to be my Judaism was it's all about me. And he goes, Chassidus showed me it's all about Hashem. And it flipped everything. And this is sort of the point we're showing here. This arrogance, it's because Judaism is all about me. And so therefore, I'm good. Whereas when we're talking about Hashem, so we look at ourselves in a good light and a healthy light, and we can have we can have a good feeling of pride, but it's not arrogance. It expresses itself very differently. And this is sort of the difference. If it's about self-serving me, that I need to learn more, so I'm good, or I'm doing this mitzvah, so it makes me feel good, and it's all about me. So then you have these issues start to come in, whereas it's all about doing what Hashem wants. Hashem wants me to do this. I need to do this to Hashem's will. So then all these good feelings, you'll not have these negative feelings, essentially. Meaning the feeling, the way you'll talk will be similar, but it won't be arrogance. It's like, I feel so good, like I learned, like I can tell. Like I feel like I'm a new person. It's not arrogance. That's good and that's healthy and that's being sensitive to yourself. But if you say to yourself, I'm so good and how good I am, I learn every day. It shows that you're serving yourself. That's essentially in on one foot. Ki al lama yizgar, but why should you be so arrogant? If it's because you understood the idea very well, you're very smart. It's not yours. It's not like you worked for it. This is like what it says in the Mishnah in Milid Avos, in Pikar Avos, in Parag Gimel, Ten le Mishalei, give him what is his, She'ata v'shelcha, because what's yours and what's his, Shalai is his, meaning is coming from Hashem, meaning you've been given these abilities. It's like a person that has the talent. I remember when I was back in the day, I heard the principal of the school in Melbourne. His son got a very high score at the end of the year, by the last year, and you get rated according to the states. It's called VCE, if I still remember, and he got like 98, which means you're in the top 2% of the whole state. So they asked his father, "What do you think of that?" So he said, "For someone that didn't try, it's pretty good." And what was it? What I guess it was sort of saying, like his potential is 99.9, which is like 5 people get that. Like his potential was way higher. But like said, come, like, oh, good. Like this is you're naturally talented. It's like someone that didn't put any effort and got a good score. Wow, look how good it's not correct to say, "Wow, look how good I am." You didn't do any effort. You didn't do anything. You're naturally, thank God. You have to say, thank God that I have this talent that Hashem gave me that I can do these things easy. And that's why Chassidim back in the day would very much hide themselves and hide what they would do. Because why? Because they understood this. And they understood that if they're good at learning, let's say, they understood that this was a gift that was given to them. And therefore, they didn't like to get the credit for it. Not that they didn't like learning, not that they weren't happy they could learn well, but they understood that it wasn't like the simple person, like especially in those days, the simple person that didn't get a chance to go to yeshiva and learn. So you can't say, "I'm so much better than him. Look how smart I am. That guy's just ignorant." Like the guy never had a chance. I was brought up with the chance, and I got all these blessings that got me to this place, and they understood that. So they didn't hold it against other people in that way. Like we say, you give a person das, knowledge, which is given from above. Now, what about if you're going to say, personally learns basmada, meaning, they sit down and they're able to sit, so they say zitzfleish, they can sit, and they're not always having to run around, they don't have ADD. You could say that could be just their nature. Because they have a mershcher, which is more like more introverted. You don't want to speak to people. They're like, just learn. Like you have those people. I remember when I was in Shiur, there's always those guys that are like, the world could be crashing around them and they don't care. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to do anything. They just want to learn. So if that's your nature, so why would you come and say, "Oh, look how good I am, so amazing"? That's just natural. And even if it is the avodah, meaning you did work on yourself, so it's all natural. You put in effort. It's really coming from Hashem. Hashem gives you the ability of how to do this. He gives you the strength. Therefore, also davening, with its cleaving, this immersion, and this fire, passionate love. Hashem gives you the ability to be able to do this. Adam hashfal ishim yizgaya. So why would a person like get all excited about something that's not really his? Meaning, the point of what he's saying is we have to recognize coming from Hashem. And the older you get, seems to me, the more you realize how much Hashem is in charge, and how much you wouldn't go very far without Hashem. And therefore, when you recognize that and you realize that truth, so therefore you don't give yourself credit more than due. Now, there's nothing wrong with being happy in what you're doing. We're not saying here, and this is why it's very important to these things you have to think about and bring about. Because he's not saying you should be unhappy. We never said the word happy or unhappy. All we're saying is arrogant. Don't be arrogant. And so we come to say to ourselves, I'm learning a Mammer and saying I have to be not arrogant, so nothing special about me. We're not saying that. We're just saying don't come and over embellish things, and be very thankful. If you're able to learn, be very thankful to God that gave you that ability to be able to learn. That you're able to sit there and learn, and whatever it is that you have in life that's good, don't take it for granted. That's what we're saying. Realize it's coming from Hashem, and Hashem gave it to you, and you're so lucky that you don't have this issue. And this is really what we're saying. That's what the rabbi say in Perek Beis, if you learned a lot of Torah, don't hold the good for yourself. And also, even though it says over there, that was the purpose of your creation. It's the second reason. So it has these two reasons. One is don't hold it for yourself, and also that this is the purpose of your creation. Meaning, must be it's not enough that if you learned a lot of Torah, don't hold it for yourself. Don't claim credit for yourself. So there's two reasons. Let's make this clear. There's two reasons. One is you learned a lot of Torah, don't give yourself full credit. And then we also said this is also the purpose of creation. So we're saying those two go together. I know it's not enough just to say because you don't give yourself any credit because you learned a lot of Torah. Why? Because you have a choice. We can't say you can't give yourself credit for learning. I chose to learn. I could have chosen to do a lot of other things. And most days, maybe if we're honest, we choose other things. So the fact that I made that choice and overcame my Yitzhar and I did it, that's a very good thing. Even though Hashem gives us the ability to understand, and the fact that like we said before, that we understand anything, it's because Hashem's giving to us. We could have decided not to learn, but not to daven. And even if we do daven, daven with all this kavanah and really get into it. That's what it says for you. That's why the second reason comes. That's why you were created. The whole beginning of you being created for this. And really what we're showing is these two ideas. If you just say, don't hold the tevel atzmcha, don't hold that we said, if you learned a lot of Torah, don't give yourself all the credits. The reason why we give a second reason, because there is a certain amount of credit you have to give yourself. But you have to recognize that you did shkayach for the choices that you made. But just because you have the ability, if you didn't choose to learn, you wouldn't have learned. You can have the potential to be the biggest Talmud Chacham, potential to do the biggest mitzvah, whatever it is, whatever mitzvah it is, whatever learning it is, whatever davening it is. You could be the best in the world. But if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. So you give some credit for yourself. But that's why there's a second reason you have to realize. But together with that, that's what you're supposed to do. It's I remember one time a rabbi from Yeshiva, from Eretz Yisroel, he came to New York, and he said on the taxi ride there, he was speaking to the driver, and the driver was telling him, I don't know how they're going to do this for bringing him, but the driver tells him they drove past a jail or something, and he goes, you see that place? He goes to jail. He goes, I drive my son there every so often. I say to him, look, you see that place? If you don't behave yourself, that's where you're going to end up. And so there I was saying, he was like, I thought that was like an obvious thing. like that's not like a goal in life is not to not end up in jail. You were made not to end up in jail. That's what I was saying. Like, it's like, I'm so happy I learned. It's very good you learned, but you also have to realize, like, this is why you're here. You know what I mean? Especially now that we're more mature, we understand a little bit, and we understand we're meant to be learning every day, or davening, or doing Torah mitzvahs. So when we do Torah mitzvahs, we should be very happy. We should celebrate the win of the Yetzer Hara, but we also recognize this is why we're here. That's what we're meant to be doing. So that's why you have to balance it. And ultimately, what we're showing is you have to be very thankful and very, very, it should be humbling to us when we do the right thing. And not, it shouldn't bring us arrogance and pride, unhealthy pride. Pride of being a Jew is very good, but unhealthy arrogance and pride. And that's what we're saying. And I'll just do one little more and then I'll stop. Anyway, we'll have to stop here. Everyone should have an amazing Shabbos. And we should recognize, we should understand, we should learn this, and we should realize where do we have the pride within ourselves, and we look at someone else like, oh, I'm so much better than them, and recognize that we should be very thankful that we have that instead of putting them down. Don't lift them down, lift ourselves up. Be so thankful that Hashem gave us those talents that we have. Have an amazing day.